With the launch of the Comprehensive Plan Update process, a new jail services department, and the implementation of the safety sales tax, Clark County had an active 2023 agenda. Recently, we sat down with Kathleen Otto, Clark County Manager, to review last year's highlights for county government and learn what challenges and opportunities lie ahead in year 2024 and beyond.
Hello, I'm Jim Demmer with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Kathleen, what do you believe are some of the biggest accomplishments, for Clark County during the past year?
Yes, we've had a busy year in 2023. First is the public safety sales tax. Just a shout out to our community who supported that tax that went to help implement our body camera program in the sheriff's office. The jail transition from the sheriff's office to the county manager executive branch. Baker Tilly compensation study. We've had a lot of turnover due to retirements, but also just being non-competitive with other agencies. So we did a full study in 2023 and was able to implement some wage adjustments based on that study. We developed a multi-year capital plan and budgeting. This is the first one for the county. It is great. It's a work in progress and will continue to be as we move forward. And of course, still allocating ARPA funding in our community strategically to make sure that some of our nonprofits and small businesses have some financial support as they've been adversely affected during the pandemic.
What about challenges? What were some of the biggest challenges you faced?
Yeah, some of our biggest challenges continue to be the budget. If anybody watched our annual budget process in December, we had a lot of requests and way more requests than we have funding. So that continues to be a challenge. I don't think it's not that it's needed. We just don't have the financial resources to sustain that. And then also with the budget process, our one-time ARPA funding is coming to an end. And as most agencies have seen over the last couple of years, we had unprecedented sales tax increases. And that now has started to level off a little bit. So it's looking more normal as we move forward.
Okay. Let's get in a little bit more in depth on some of the major issues you discussed. As you mentioned, the Jail Services Department has been up and running for a year now. How has the creation of this new department impacted efficiencies and services at the jail?
Yeah, sure. So this is still a work in progress. I will say overall the transition has been successful. Our staffing levels is the first priority that they had in the jail. And I am excited to share that our staffing levels are better now than they have been in more than 2 decades. And this is really due to the dedication of the leadership team and the corrections officers and everybody who supports the jail. And so with that, in the first quarter of this year, HPOD has been closed for a while. We'll be opening up to offer additional beds in the jail. We've had additional staffing approved in the 2024 budget process, and they will also be staffing the jail work center. So we're hoping by end of the year that will also be opened up. They're looking at policy and operational review continually. And our remodel project is full speed ahead. We have a lot of stakeholder groups, mental and behavioral health, law and justice partners. And if anybody's interested in that process, our council is going to have an update next Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock.
Okay. That's great news about the hiring. You also had issues, and you mentioned earlier, with the sheriff's department, as with the rest of the county departments. How's it going? Has that been improved as well?
Yes, we're making progress in 2023. There's still a ways to go. I just had a recent communication from the sheriff that they currently have 13 deputy sheriff vacancies right now and some support staff. They also were allocated 7 FTE during the annual budget process. So that's now also going to be posted. With regard to the jail, right now we have 18 vacancies in the corrections, 14 of which were just approved additional FTE in 2024. And we have 25 candidates that are testing this Saturday for those positions. And that's also one more thing that we did with the jails. We brought the testing of the applicants in-house. And so now we can meet with our local people who really want to work for us and be part of our team. So it's been very successful in our hiring.
Now, you talked about the sales safety tax, which voters approved in August of 2022. How have the added funds been used in 2023 to improve public safety?
Yeah, again, my sincere thank you to the community for passing this. It is fully funding the body worn cameras for the sheriff's office. Additional deputies for the county campus here downtown were able to be allocated to that new funding, as well as transport and extradition for the sheriff's office. We have also been able to expand some of the additional corrections officers that I just mentioned, the 12 over at the Jail Work Center, and some other programs within the corrections office. And then finally, district court's electronic home monitoring program that also was allocated to the public safety sales tax. So again, it's much appreciated. We have maximized the use of that fund, and we'll continue to monitor it as we move forward. But it did provide a temporary or a little relief valve for sure.
Wonderful. Overall, how does the county revenue outlook look for 2024 and beyond?
You know, as I mentioned earlier, our bump in our sales tax has leveled off, so we're not seeing that any longer. And that was really unprecedented. So that's certainly leveling off. And so right now we're budgeting the annual growth of our revenues to be normal, but we do continue to monitor this. Our finance team meets weekly, and sometimes we usually talk about these a couple times a month, but it's something that we need to follow. Our budget's a little tight, and so we need to make sure we're ready to pivot and also look at other revenue streams too. Where, you know, that's always a goal of ours to see what other options are out there, grants or other types of funding sources that we can bring in.
And then how do you, looking longer term, population continues to grow, which requires obviously more services with a limited budget. You know, how do you balance that with limited revenue growth, and what does the trend look like 5-10 years from now?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's one that really weighs heavily on my mind and my heart, especially just concluding the 2024 budget last month. We do have 6-year forecasts for all of our major funds, and we've also been successful in adopting minimum fund balances. And what that does is allow us to have continuity of services and be able to adjust or pivot if something happens like the pandemic that we're not ready or anticipating to happen. But unfortunately, we are seeing a structural deficit continue, which basically means expenses are exceeding revenues, including the general fund. Again, our sales tax is down, ARPA one-time is going away. This really bought us some time during COVID because we were seeing the structural deficit before. We're always reviewing efficiencies. How can we do it differently? This is going to be a real intentional focus this year. We need to think outside the box. We have a lot of mandated services by law, and we have to look at what is the acceptable level of service that would be acceptable for our community. You know, what does it look like now? What does it look like in 5 years? We have, you know, everything has to be on the table. Look at partnerships in our community with other jurisdictions to see how can we reduce our financial liability without impacting services. This is definitely our largest challenge, and there's going to be a lot of discussion coming in 2024.
Okay. The impacts of homelessness continue to hit this region hard. What steps are underway to help people find affordable housing?
Yeah, so we've had a couple of things. This is also a work in progress. The housing options study and action plan was adopted by our council, and staff is working now on implementing that plan. If anybody is interested in looking what that is and what the recommendations are, it is on the community planning website on the county homepage. There's also opportunities where the community services has contracted with Proud Ground, and they're receiving home and community development block grant funds to use its community land trust model and participate as a partner in the Clark County Affordable Housing Program. This facilitated about 30 first-time home buyers purchasing homes this last year. And we're also looking at other requests, both from Proud Ground and Evergreen Habitat for Humanity to further assist with home ownership programs. Additionally, if anybody's watching our meetings, we do have a lot of county property transactions. And so as those are coming forward through the council, we are reviewing those properties as well before they're sold, looking at the regulations around that. There's code and RCW that dictate what we can and can't do. But to see, is there any flexibility in those county-owned properties that we can provide diverse housing options in our community?
Great. The county kicked off the development of the comprehensive growth management plan. Can you explain the purpose of the plan and when it's due and how the public can get involved?
Sure. So the purpose of the comp plan update is the Growth Management Act requires that we do this. It requires jurisdictions to update this and bring basically updates that were changes to state law, land use changes, population growth projections, and housing projections. This is a very lengthy process, and I'm learning a lot from Oliver Jocko, our community planning director, who's overseeing this project. This needs to be completed by the end of June in 2025. Certainly, if the community wants more information, they have a very robust website on site. You can click on there. You can see all the meetings, all the event information. You can sign up for updates, submit comments, and find ways to get involved. For example, right now we are seeking applicants for the Climate Project Community Advisory Group. The deadline is January 10th, but there is a lot of updates and it's updated continually. So please get involved and join us in this journey to get the comp plan update done.
Now the county council has already held a number of hearings regarding the elements of the plan. What are some of the major issues still to be decided?
Yeah, so the next major one is the allocation for population, housing, and jobs is the next major step. So currently staff is working with the cities, going through the process with them, and then it will be presented to our council for further discussion and direction. Based on council's direction, we may need to pivot and create some alternatives based on different feedback from the community. So it's really, that is the key focus right now and will be for the near term.
Now, we already kind of talked about the budget challenges and the revenue challenges. What are some other challenges facing county government in the coming years?
You know, my biggest challenge is the budget. And because that really does, it sets the strategic direction and it helps us implement the policies that council set, and it provides the resources needed to get our services done in the community. And it's not just a number, it's what we do, it's how we do it. And it's tough. We have great staff. Our growth in staff has been very limited because we don't have the ongoing financial sustainability. But our staff is resilient. They take on more, they find better ways to do it. And so while it's, like I said earlier, it's heavy on my heart as we move forward with this year and next year with our budget, I know that our team here in Clark County they're going to step up and they're going to help us get through it.
What about some opportunities?
I always think of challenges of opportunities, and that it's kind of tied to the same thing. We have a lot of services we have to provide. There's a lot of policy. I think we had a record number of things that came through last year to council for approval and consideration. And we had a lot of stuff that got paused during COVID based on, the governor's orders. And so now we're doing catch up and we're full speed ahead. So I know everybody's keeping their head above water, but one of the great opportunities is that our staffing is better. We're able to pay the bills now and will for this year and, be monitoring that. And there's always opportunities to partner with our community partners and, and really just see some of our projects continue to move forward, like the jail remodel and the jail work center and the staffing that, that is a huge undertaking that staff has taken on, and everybody has been really good at working together and helping that move forward.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers about county government?
I sincerely believe the work we do is an honor. And again, I want to thank the community for their involvement and encourage those who are not connected to the county to please visit our website. We have employment opportunities, boards and commissions. We welcome the partnerships. We value you. You're our customer. And of course, I'm always open to feedback and welcome it. you can certainly email me or directly, or you can call 564-397-2232. And again, thank you to the community for your support for the public safety sales tax. And I look forward to working for you this year.
Thank you so much, and good luck with this coming year.